Welcome to this in-depth exploration of 25 essential muscle training movements. In this video, I'll break down each exercise to show you not just how to perform it, but why it's so effective. I'll focus on the key muscles that power the movement, the primary nerves that activate those muscles, and the functional benefits you'll gain. Think of this as a guided tour through your own anatomy, highlighting the interplay of bones, muscles, and nerves that make our bodies so remarkably capable. Whether you're aiming for strength, stability, improved posture, or enhanced athletic performance, understanding these movements from the inside out will give you a stronger foundation for progress. From core engagement strategies to upper body strengtheners and lower body power moves, you'll learn how each exercise supports proper biomechanics and helps prevent injury. Along the way, I'll tap into the complex neural pathways, like the sciatic nerve for lower body moves or the median nerve for upper body actions that tell your muscles when to fire. And I'll explore how stabilizing muscles and their supportive nerve networks work behind the scenes, ensuring seamless, coordinated motion. By the end, you'll know not only how to execute each of these 25 movements correctly and safely, but also how to tailor them to meet your personal fitness goals. Let's dive into the science, technique, and artistry of human movement, one exercise at a time. The barbell bench press is a classic upper body exercise that primarily targets the pectoralis major, along with the anterior deltoids and triceps brachii. As you press the barbell upward, the pecs power the movement, with the anterior deltoids assisting in shoulder flexion and the triceps extending the elbows to complete the lift. The pectoralis major is innervated by the medial and lateral pectoral nerves, originating from the C5 to T1 spinal roots, allowing the chest to contract forcefully. The anterior deltoid is controlled by the axillary nerve, stemming from C5 and C6, while the triceps brachii relies on the radial nerve, connected to the C6 to C8 spinal roots. Together, these muscles and nerves coordinate to produce the strength and control. The back squat is a powerhouse exercise for building lower body strength, targeting the quadriceps, gluteus maximus, and hamstrings. As you lower into the squat, the quads extend the knees, while the glutes and hamstrings drive your hips up as you stand. Supporting muscles like the erector spinae in your back and your core help maintain stability throughout the movement. The quadriceps are powered by the femoral nerve, stemming from the L2 to L4 spinal roots. The glutes get their strength from the inferior gluteal nerve connected to the L5, S1, and S2 spinal roots. Meanwhile, the hamstrings rely on the sciatic nerve, rooted in L4 to S3. As you squat, these muscles and nerves work in perfect sync, creating a smooth, powerful movement that not only builds strength, but enhances your neuromuscular coordination. The dumbbell row is an excellent exercise for building upper back strength, primarily targeting the latissimus dorsi and rhomboids. The lats, those large muscles running down the sides of your back, are responsible for pulling your arm toward your body, while the rhomboids, located between your shoulder blades, retract and stabilize the scapula. Together, these muscles create a strong, sculpted back. But none of this happens without nerve control. The thoracodorsal nerve activates the lats, while the dorsal scapular nerve fires up the rhomboids. These nerves, part of the brachial plexus, relay signals from the spine, ensuring your muscles engage in perfect harmony with each pull. So when you're rowing, it's a coordinated effort between your muscles and nerves, keeping your back strong and stable. Hammer curls are a fantastic way to build serious arm strength and size, targeting two key muscles, the biceps brachii and the brachialis. The biceps brachii, that classic show-off muscle at the front of your upper arm, is responsible for bending the elbow and rotating the forearm, giving you the power to pull and lift. Beneath it lies the brachialis, a lesser known but equally important muscle that assists in elbow flexion and gives your arm that extra thickness when developed. But none of this action happens without the nervous system's help. The musculocutaneous nerve controls both the biceps brachii and the brachialis, sending signals from the brachial plexus, a complex nerve network originating from your spine. Each time you curl the dumbbell, this nerve fires up, telling your muscles to contract, lift, and control the movement. The dumbbell skull crusher is an excellent exercise for isolating the triceps brachii, the muscle on the back of your upper arm responsible for elbow extension. This exercise primarily targets all three heads of the triceps, helping you achieve stronger, more defined arms. But behind the scenes, nerves are crucial for this movement. The radial nerve, which branches from the brachial plexus in the neck, controls the triceps, enabling them to contract effectively during each repetition. The brachial plexus itself is a network of nerves that originates from the spinal cord, specifically the cervical vertebrae C5 to C8 and the first thoracic nerve T1. This intricate system not only facilitates movement, but also provides sensory information from the arm and hand. So, as you lower that dumbbell toward your forehead and extend back up, remember, it's your triceps working hard, guided by the radial nerve. The dumbbell rear delt fly is an excellent exercise targeting the posterior deltoid, an essential muscle in shoulder movement. It focuses on the rear deltoids, located at the back of the shoulder, which contribute to shoulder extension, external rotation, and horizontal abduction. In addition to the rear deltoids, this exercise also engages the rhomboids, which are upper back muscles responsible for retracting the shoulder blades. The posterior deltoid is innervated by the axillary nerve, originating from the C5 and C6 spinal nerves. Meanwhile, the rhomboids are innervated by the dorsal scapular nerve, stemming from the C4 and C5 spinal roots. Performing the dumbbell rear delt fly not only strengthens these muscles, but also supports better posture and shoulder stability by reinforcing the connections between the muscles and their associated. The dumbbell fly is a powerful chest exercise designed to target the pectoralis major, the large fan-shaped muscle that forms the bulk of the chest. This muscle is crucial for movements like horizontal adduction, which brings the arms together in front of the body, exactly what you're doing during a fly. Along with the pectorals, the anterior deltoids, located at the front of the shoulders, play a significant role in stabilizing and assisting with shoulder flexion during the exercise, making it a fantastic upper body workout. But let's dive a little deeper. The pectoralis major is innervated by two key nerves, the medial and lateral pectoral nerves, which originate from the C5 to T1 spinal nerve roots. The anterior deltoid is controlled by the axillary nerve, which comes from the C5 and C6 spinal roots. This nerve is essential for shoulder movement, and the barbell curl is one of the most fundamental exercises for building arm strength, specifically targeting the biceps brachii. This muscle, located at the front of the upper arm, is responsible for elbow flexion and forearm supination. Basically, the upward curling motion and turning of the forearm that defines the movement. Supporting the biceps in this exercise are the brachialis, which lies beneath the biceps and contributes to elbow flexion, and the brachioradialis, a muscle that runs along the forearm and aids in stabilizing the movement. The biceps brachii is innervated by the musculocutaneous nerve, which originates from the C5 and C6 spinal roots. This nerve is crucial for transmitting signals from your brain to your biceps, allowing for smooth contraction and control during the curl. The brachialis is also innervated by the musculocutaneous nerve, while the brachioradialis receives its nerve supply. The dumbbell lunge is an exceptional lower body exercise that targets multiple muscle groups and improves balance and coordination. The primary muscles engaged during the lunge are the quadriceps at the front of the thigh, the gluteus maximus in the buttocks, and the hamstrings at the back of the thigh. Additionally, muscles in the lower leg, like the gastrocnemius and soleus, contribute to stabilizing the ankle and knee, while the core muscles work to maintain balance and posture. From a neurological perspective, the quadriceps are innervated by the femoral nerve, which originates from the L2, L3, and L4 spinal roots, allowing for powerful knee extension. The gluteus maximus is controlled by the inferior gluteal nerve, which arises from the L5, S1, and S2 spinal roots and facilitates hip extension. The hamstrings receive signals from the sciatic nerve, one of the largest nerves in the body, which is derived from the L4 to S3 spinal roots, enabling a highly effective exercise for developing a strong back and improving posture. This movement primarily targets the latissimus dorsi, a broad muscle that spans the back, responsible for shoulder extension and adduction. Alongside the lats, the rhomboids and trapezius muscles in the upper back assist in retracting the shoulder blades, while the biceps brachii help with elbow flexion, making this a full upper body exercise. On the neural side, the latissimus dorsi is innervated by the thoracodorsal nerve, which originates from the C6, C7, and C8 spinal roots. The rhomboids are controlled by the dorsal scapular nerve arising from the C4 and C5 spinal nerves, and the trapezius is innervated by the spinal accessory nerve, cranial nerve X1, and fibers from C3 and C4. The biceps brachii receives signals from the musculocutaneous nerve, which comes from the C5. The upright row is your go-to move for building shoulder strength and adding definition to your upper back. Picture yourself lifting a barbell or dumbbells up to your chin. That's the move. The primary muscles powering this lift are the deltoids, especially the anterior and lateral heads, giving you that broad-shouldered look. Then we have the upper trapezius, those muscles that give you a bit of height around the neck and shoulder area, plus the rhomboids, which help keep your shoulders pulled back and strong. Your biceps and forearms also get in on the action, providing stability and support throughout the lift. As for the nerves, the axillary nerve fires up the deltoids, the spinal accessory nerve controls the trapezius, and the dorsal scapular nerve steps in for the rhomboids. These nerves get their energy from spinal roots C5 and C6 for the deltoids, C3 and C4 for the trapezius, and C5 again for the rhomboids. The Bulgarian split squat might sound fancy, but it's actually an incredible powerhouse move for building leg strength and balance. Imagine yourself standing in a lunge position with one foot elevated behind you. That's the setup. This squat variation primarily targets your quadriceps and glutes, giving your thighs and glutes a fantastic workout while also hitting the hamstrings and calves as they work to stabilize you. As for the nerves and spinal roots in action, we have the femoral nerve powering the quadriceps, connected to spinal roots L2, L3, and L4. For the glutes, the inferior gluteal nerve is hard at work, drawing from spinal roots L5, S1, and S2. The sciatic nerve helps out the hamstrings and gets its charge from L4 through S3. Meanwhile, core stabilizers activate as you balance, engaging your abdominals and even obliques to keep you steady. It may look like a small movement, but it's essential for building strong forearms, improving grip, and enhancing wrist stability. Let's talk posture. While seated at a cable machine with your forearm resting on a bench or your thigh, it's key to maintain an upright and stable body position. Keep your core tight and shoulders back to avoid rounding your spine. Now for the muscles at play, the main focus is on the forearm flexors like the flexor carpi radialis and flexor carpi ulnaris. These are the muscles responsible for curling your wrist up and down, which gives you that toned, powerful forearm. During the curl, keep your elbow tucked in and avoid excessive movement in the shoulder to isolate the forearm muscles effectively. On the nerve side, the median nerve activates the flexor carpi radialis, while the ulnar nerve controls the flexor carpi ulnaris. Both are powered by spinal roots C7 and C8. Seated dumbbell calf raise is a fantastic exercise for building powerful lower legs and solid calf definition. Imagine sitting on a bench with a dumbbell balanced across your knees, lifting your heels up and down. This simple motion zeroes in on your soleus muscle, which sits just underneath the larger gastrocnemius and is key for building calf size and endurance. Posture is crucial here. Sit upright with your back straight and core engaged. Feet should be hip width apart, toes pointing forward. Avoid leaning back or slumping forward. Maintaining an aligned spine will keep your calf muscles engaged without putting strain on your lower back. As you raise your heels, focus on pressing through the balls of your feet and squeeze at the top of each rep to get the most out of each lift. In terms of nerves, the tibial nerve is the main player here, activating the soleus muscle. This nerve is powered by spinal roots S1 and S2. The skull crusher, or lying tricep extension, is a classic for building arm strength, specifically targeting the triceps to give those upper arms a solid, sculpted look. For this exercise, you'll be lying on a bench, holding a barbell or dumbbells above your head, and bending at the elbows to lower the weight towards your forehead, hence the name skull crusher. For posture, lie flat on the bench with your back fully supported and feet planted firmly on the floor for stability. Your core should stay engaged to avoid arching your lower back. Keep your upper arms fixed. Only your forearms move as you bend at the elbows. This isolates the triceps, ensuring they're doing the work without recruiting other muscles like your shoulders or chest. Now let's talk muscles and nerves. The long head of the triceps is especially targeted in this exercise, giving that fuller look to the back of the arm. The radial nerve powers the triceps, with spinal roots C7 and C8 involved. The triceps extension is a powerful isolation exercise targeting the triceps, specifically designed to build strength and definition in the back of the upper arm. Imagine holding a dumbbell or cable overhead or lying with an easy bar, extending your arms fully, then bending your elbows to lower the weight behind your head before pressing back up. For proper posture, keep your core engaged and back straight to protect the spine, especially if performing the exercise seated or standing. Ensure your upper arms stay stationary throughout, only allowing movement at the elbows, which isolates the triceps and prevents other muscles from assisting. The triceps brachii is the primary muscle at work, activated by the radial nerve and supported by spinal roots C7 and C8. Back exercise that builds strength in the lats, rhomboids, and trapezius, giving you a thicker, stronger upper back. Picture yourself standing with a barbell, bending at the hips to a 45-degree angle, while keeping your knees slightly bent, and pulling the bar toward your lower chest. Good posture is essential. Keep your core tight and your back flat to maintain a neutral spine throughout the movement. Avoid rounding your shoulders or jerking the bar up. Instead, focus on squeezing your shoulder blades together as you row, which isolates the back muscles and protects the lower back. Primary muscles targeted include the latissimus dorsi, rhomboids, and traps, with assistance from the biceps. The thoracodorsal nerve powers the lats, C6, C8, while the dorsal scapular nerve engages the rhomboids, C4, C5. Lunge is a powerful lower body exercise that targets the quadriceps, glutes, and hamstrings while enhancing balance and stability. Imagine yourself standing with a barbell across your upper back, taking a step forward and lowering into a lunge until both knees are at about 90 degrees, then pushing back up to the starting position. For proper posture, keep your core engaged and your chest up to maintain a neutral spine throughout the movement. As you lunge, avoid leaning forward or arching your back, and make sure your front knee stays aligned over your ankle to protect your joints. The primary muscles worked are the quads and glutes, with hamstrings and calves acting as stabilizers. The femoral nerve activates the quads, L2, L4, and the inferior gluteal nerve powers the glutes, L5, S2. Barbell hip thrust is an excellent exercise for building strength and power in the glutes and hamstrings. Picture yourself seated with your upper back resting against a bench, a barbell positioned across your hips. As you drive through your heels, you lift your hips until your torso is parallel to the floor, squeezing your glutes at the top for maximum activation. Posture is crucial for this move. Start by setting up with your feet hip width apart and your core engaged. Keep your chin tucked and gaze forward, which helps maintain a neutral spine. As you lift, avoid arching your lower back. Focus on keeping the movement controlled and driven by the glutes. The primary muscle targeted is the gluteus maximus, with assistance from the hamstrings and quadriceps. The inferior gluteal nerve powers the glutes, drawing support from spinal roots L5 to S2. High pull is a powerful, explosive exercise that builds strength in the shoulders, upper back, and traps, making it popular for adding upper body power and athleticism. Imagine gripping a barbell with a slightly wider than shoulder width grip, then driving it up to chest height with an explosive movement, keeping the elbows higher than the wrists. For proper posture, start with your feet hip width apart and keep your core tight to protect your spine. As you pull the barbell up, focus on driving with the legs and hips, then pulling the barbell vertically by engaging your traps and deltoids. Avoid leaning back or arching your spine. Maintain a neutral posture to keep the movement controlled. Primary muscles worked include the deltoids, trapezius, and rhomboids, with the biceps and forearms providing support. The axillary nerve powers the deltoids, while the spinal accessory nerve activates the traps, supported by spinal roots C3 to C6. Glute bridge is a top exercise for strengthening the glutes and building a strong, balanced lower body. Picture yourself lying on your back with a barbell resting across your hips. As you drive through your heels, you lift your hips, squeezing your glutes at the top to maximize activation. Posture and form are essential. Start by lying flat with knees bent, feet hip width apart, and positioned close to your glutes. Keep your core engaged and spine neutral throughout the movement. As you lift, avoid arching your lower back. Focus on a powerful glute squeeze to lift your hips and protect your spine. The primary muscle worked is the gluteus maximus, with the hamstrings and core assisting as stabilizers. The inferior gluteal nerve powers the glutes, drawing from spinal roots L5 to S2. The barbell back shrug is an effective exercise for building and defining the upper trapezius muscles, which give your shoulders and neck a powerful, defined look. To perform it, hold a barbell behind your body with an overhand grip, standing upright. The movement is simple. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, squeezing the traps at the top, then slowly lower them back down. Proper posture is essential. Stand tall with your core engaged, shoulders back, and neck neutral. Avoid rolling your shoulders or jerking the weight. Instead, focus on a controlled up and down movement to maximize trapezius activation and prevent strain on the neck or spine. The upper trapezius muscles are the primary focus, activated by the spinal accessory nerve and spinal roots C3 and C4. The levator scapulae also help in this movement, stabilizing the shoulder blades. The barbell ab rollout is a challenging core exercise that targets the abdominals, obliques, and lower back for serious core strength and stability. Imagine gripping a barbell with plates on each side, rolling it forward while keeping your body straight, then using your core to pull yourself back to the starting position. Proper posture here is key. Begin on your knees, holding the barbell shoulder width apart. Keep a neutral spine, avoiding any arching or sagging in the lower back, and engage your core tightly throughout. As you roll forward, control the movement with a slow, steady pace and avoid letting your hips dip. The primary muscles targeted are the rectus abdominis and obliques, along with stabilizers like the erector spinae and latissimus dorsi. The intercostal nerves and thoracoabdominal nerves power the core muscles, with spinal roots T6 to L1 involved in stabilization. The pull-up is a classic bodyweight exercise that builds serious upper body strength, focusing on the latissimus dorsi, lats, along with the biceps, trapezius, and rhomboids. Picture yourself hanging from a bar, then pulling your chin up above the bar to complete each rep. For posture, keep your core engaged and shoulders pulled down and back to avoid hunching or shrugging. Maintain a neutral spine to prevent swinging, which isolates the lats and keeps the movement controlled and effective. Proper form ensures you're maximizing muscle engagement and reducing injury risk. Your latissimus dorsi muscles drive the movement, powered by the thoracodorsal nerve with spinal roots C6 to C8, while your biceps and brachialis assist, activated by the musculocutaneous nerve. This combination of muscles gives the pull-up its powerful full body feel. Exercise for building back strength, especially targeting the latissimus dorsi, or lats, for that V-shaped torso look. Imagine yourself seated at a cable machine, gripping the bar with arms extended above you, then pulling the bar down to your chest while keeping your body stable. For posture, sit upright with your core engaged and your back straight. Keep your shoulders down and back as you pull, avoiding any rounding or leaning back excessively, as this helps isolate the lats and prevents strain on the lower back. The primary muscle at work here is the latissimus dorsi, with the biceps, trapezius, and rhomboids as secondary stabilizers. The thoracodorsal nerve, supported by spinal roots C6 to C8, powers the lats, while the musculocutaneous nerve engages the biceps for additional support. The good morning exercise is all about building strength and stability in the hamstrings, glutes, and lower back, enhancing both power and posture. Imagine standing with a barbell across your shoulders, keeping a slight bend in your knees, then hinging at the hips to lower your torso forward while maintaining a straight back. This hip hinge movement stretches and activates those powerful posterior chain muscles. Posture here is crucial. Keep your spine neutral from head to tailbone and your core tight to protect the lower back. Your upper body should remain aligned, with shoulders slightly pulled back, avoiding any rounding. This posture keeps the erector spinae, muscles running along the spine, stabilized while the hamstrings and glutes do the lifting. The sciatic nerve engages the hamstrings, while the inferior gluteal nerve powers the glutes, with spinal roots L4 to S2 providing support. Lying hamstring curls are a fantastic isolation exercise for building strength and definition in the hamstrings. Picture yourself lying face down on a machine, ankles hooked under the padded lever. As you curl the weight up, you're working to contract the hamstrings and get the most out of each rep. Proper posture here is key. Keep your hips pressed down into the pad to prevent them from lifting, which ensures that the hamstrings are doing the work rather than the lower back. Your core should stay engaged and your lower back neutral, to protect your spine throughout the movement. The primary muscles targeted are the hamstrings, including the biceps femoris, semitendinosus, and semimembranosus. These are activated by the sciatic nerve, powered by spinal roots L4 to S3. Called the king of exercises for good reason. It's a full body powerhouse that targets multiple major muscle groups. First, let's start with your setup. Feet should be hip width apart, with the barbell over your midfoot. Your spine should remain neutral from head to tailbone, with a slight natural curve, no rounding or arching. Engage your core, pull your shoulders back, and hinge at the hips rather than bending your knees excessively. This posture allows the glutes, hamstrings, and lower back to take charge, ensuring a powerful lift. As you lift, a host of muscles come into play. The glutes and hamstrings initiate the movement. The quadriceps help with knee extension, and the erector spinae muscles in the lower back stabilize the spine. Even your lats and traps assist, keeping the bar close and your back stable. The primary nerves involved are the sciatic nerve for the hamstrings, inferior gluteal nerve for the glutes, and femoral nerve for the quads. The barbell incline press is a fantastic exercise for building upper body strength with a focus on the upper chest and shoulders. Imagine lying on an incline bench, gripping the barbell slightly wider than shoulder width. You press the bar up and away from your chest, making sure to control the movement on the way down. For proper posture, set the bench at a 30, 45-degree angle and keep your shoulders back with your feet flat on the floor for stability. Keep a neutral spine and avoid arching your lower back excessively. Engage your core throughout to protect your lower back and prevent strain. The primary muscles worked are the pectoralis major, especially the upper fibers, along with the anterior deltoids and triceps. The pectoral muscles are powered by the medial and lateral pectoral nerves, C5, C7, while the triceps are engaged by the radial nerve, C7, C8.